Welcome to the Happy, Healthy Life Podcast with your hosts, Rob and Randy, who reveal the truth, the lies, and confusion about health so that you are no longer the victim to mainstream medical dogma and you are the hero to your own happy, healthy story.
Well, welcome to the podcast here. I'm in Dallas. I'm at the studio of H2 Thin Virtual Program. And these are my two buddies, Randy and Rob. And I met them a few times and they're just great guys that actually, and I hate to admit it because I always like to be the best, but they have the best weight loss program in the world. And the reason I know that is because there's so many friends, colleagues, and even celebrities that have gone through their program and basically not only got great results, but were able to keep the weight off. So that's very unique. And today, I would like to interview these two unique people on their weight loss program because I want to put many of my clients on this program as part of their journey to unleash their superpowers and be in optimal health. So, hello, Rob and Randy.
Dr.
Hey,
Mike,
y'all.
great to be here with you. Actually, great that you're here with us on your podcast.
That's right. This is confusing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm not actually there. I'm in Nashville right now. So this is a good time.
So before we get into the weight loss program, Randy, tell a little bit about yourself, your background, and how both of you kind of met and decided to do this weight loss program.
Yeah, crazy. Like I never could have even thought that myself or even you, Rob, would have even been in this situation. But Rob's been my best friend for over 20 years. We're both retired chiropractors, holistic background, natural health. We really believe and know that the power that made our body, it heals our body, that the greatest doctors in all of us, and working with that doctor, great things are going to happen. And so what's crazy is a little backstory about myself personally is I was in practice for about 8 years, thriving practice, one of the largest clinics in the country at the time. And I got diagnosed with late stage cancer. Pretty devastating. I was 36 years young and they're telling me, get your affairs in order. The cancer had spread into my lymphatic chain, had moved into my liver, into my stomach. And they're like, it's chemotherapy, it's radiation, it's a drug trial, and good luck with that. And, and I respectfully at that time, I just had no interest really in treating the cancer. I really wanted to go back to my foundational roots because either I was full of crap or what I believe was really true, that cancer really was a symptom and that it wasn't making me sick. I was already sick. And that's why I had the cancer. So I refused standard of care. I ended up going to Spain of all places. And I ended up meeting a doctor there, Dr. Raymond Helou. He was from Lebanon, medical doctor, a cellular biologist. And a long story short, I get well in like 90 days working with this man because we weren't doing anything to harm me or treat the cancer. We were really treating me, the person who had the cancer. And once I got strong and healthy, the cancer went away. And that was over 12 years ago. And it's long been gone. But what this did is it started stirring in me and in Rob, because Rob was over there with me, my best friend over there helping take care of me, support me, pray for me, keep me adjusted, encourage me when I was negative, and just kept me moving forward. But we both were like, listen, this is a real thing that we needed to take a look at, because what we found out, and really it's true, is that really all unhealthy conditions in the body are really metabolic conditions.
Correct.
Right? When your body's not adapting chemically, physically, and emotionally, it's going to break down. And you can name that whatever you want to name it. There is no difference between disease or health. They're the exact same thing. It's the body doing the right thing under the circumstances. So coming back from Spain, getting well, really learning a lot from this doctor, looking at these strategies, looking at metabolic health, we decided to start moving in a different direction. And who better to do that with than my best friend, who at the same time that I've been given a death sentence and overcoming that, Rob had his own battle. Rob, so maybe why don't you share for Mike's audience kind of what your struggle was at the same time?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was literally the perfect storm. And it's that scenario where that your pain becomes your purpose, because I was in extreme pain as he was going through that, because I had an injury where I'd fallen off a fence and blown out several discs in my lower back. And it's ironic, I know, being a chiropractor, so blew out all these discs in my lower back and I could barely walk. But because I could barely walk, I could no longer exercise. And as a result, my weight had ballooned up over 65 pounds. And so for myself personally, I had always struggled with my weight. So I had to be perfect with my exercise, perfect with my food. I was cutting out sugar. I was doing keto. I was doing paleo. I was doing all the things just to maintain a healthy weight. And as soon as I would stop being perfect, the weight would always come back. So that's exactly what had happened when I injured myself. Is not only did the weight come back, I gained 65 more pounds, and so putting more stress on my body. So after learning these principles and these protocols from this doctor in Spain that I watched Randy go through, and learning from him, like Randy was saying, all these unhealthy conditions that have a metabolic component or disruption to them, I'm like, why don't I start applying those same protocols to myself to see what we can be able to do here? Because my only options at this point were, I could starve myself, which I had already tried that before when I was younger. That didn't work, obviously. And or I could get surgery, and having a holistic background, that really wasn't an option either. So I'm like, all right, let's do this. So I started applying these protocols, and as a result, within about a week and a half, the inflammation that was in my lower back that was keeping me unable to actually walk was now decreased to the point where I was now walking again. Yeah. So not only was I walking again, but now my body, I was losing weight. Now I had lost weight before in the past, but I would always get stuck at a certain number. For me, it was always, I would get stuck at 180 pounds, and I had to try really hard to be able to get through that. And this time going through these protocols, I continued to keep on losing the weight. So I lost the weight to the point where I lost the 65 pounds. I was 150 pounds when this was all said and done. Here's the good news is I'm sitting right here in Nashville, Tennessee, and I weigh the exact same 150 pounds that I did 11 years ago, which right there lets us know that I was able to heal my metabolism, which means that others like myself can be able to heal their metabolism, lose the weight, and keep the weight off. Because when you have a healthier metabolism, it's not hard to keep the weight off. You'll keep the weight off because you have a healthy, what we call metabolic thermostat, which is everybody has one. And then when it gets set at a certain weight, then you're going to get stuck at that certain weight. That's exactly right. So it really changed and saved my life, which is why that right now is my purpose, is to be able to empower others with the tools that they need to live what we call the happy, healthy life.
And the irony of this, by the way, is, 12 years ago or over 12 years ago, we weren't the happy, healthy guys. We were the sick, depressed, overweight, almost dead guys. And clearly nobody's inspired by that, but it wasn't who we were, right? It's where we were at the time. So whatever you've gone through or going through, it's just where you're at right now. It doesn't have to be where you're headed or where you're going to end up or who God created you to be. So the happy, healthy life really is a reality, really, for anybody. We know that you believe that because you coach thousands of people at this point to their happiest, healthiest life, which is why this collaboration is really freaking amazing. But anyway, good to be here. Good, not being dead is a great clinical outcome, by the way. So
it is a great clinical outcome. Now, what a story, guys. But again, it shows people also that, no matter where you are in life, if you set your mind to help yourself or get the help because you needed a Spanish doctor, obviously, right? You not only find your purpose in life sometimes comes from those low moments, right? Because here you are helping hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people do the same. So it's not like you have the experience, you went through it yourself, and what a better coach to have that has been there versus somebody that says, I have a weight loss program and they're standing there 350 pounds heavy, right? So that's number one. Number two, what I really wanted to emphasize is what I'm hearing out of these stories is something that I say all the time, is only the body can heal itself, right?
True.
So I think that's where the arrogance of conventional medicine comes in, is we have this complex human being with trillions of cells, millions of chemical reactions per second. And we think that by interfering with that, we can come to a positive solution. And so I think that's always kind of laughable. And that's why I many times say drugs don't cure, surgeries don't cure, injections don't cure, but even chiropractic, food therapy, supplements, they don't cure either. Only the body can heal itself. So what we need to do is we really need to put the body in the right conditions, give it the right tools so that it can heal itself. We got to step out of the way of ourselves in order for the body to heal itself. And that's what you guys have done. You have learned on how to put your body in those conditions so that it can heal itself. And so that's a very strong message, that just by a pill or a surgery, you're going to make things worse. You're interfering with the best healing system that's inside of you. So we need to unleash that system, right? And so that's what I heard when you guys were talking your story. So let's get to that weight loss, right?
Let's do it.
Let's get to that weight loss, because I know it's a great program, but I don't know the details, and I want my listeners to learn why this is a great program. So what is unique about it? We already heard metabolism. So how do you assess where people are or what metabolic type they are, and then how do you proceed with that weight loss program that you have?
Yeah, so I want to say this, and then Dr. Rob, I want to throw it over to you. I like how you describe and break down the word metabolism, but you said so many powerful things. But one thing that we do, and I think it really sets us apart, Dr. Mike, is that we want to create an environment where great things are more likely to happen.
Yes.
Right. We're not the healer. I think that's a mistake a lot of doctors make, is they assume this role. It's inappropriate. Yeah. You aren't the healer. No. You don't need to take that burden on, because you're going to screw it all up. The healing is already there. Stop interfering. And so whether it's cancer, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, inflammation, these are all symptoms of a much bigger cause. You want to create the right environment. So having a healthy metabolic profile is really the foundation to everything. If you're stacking and doing all these things without creating the right foundation, you're going to get stuck. You're going to get frustrated. And it's like what we call, where I grew up in a small town in Northeast Texas, it's called the one-legged duck. You ever seen a one-legged duck?
No.
They swim in a
flamingo.
Circle. A one-legged flamingo. They swim in a circle, and it is a nightmare.
Not getting anywhere.
So Dr. Rob, talk about breaking down, really, what does metabolism even mean? Because I think this kind of lays the foundation of our approach and what we're all about.
Yeah, nobody had ever taught us even what metabolism means, other than, that thought that, hey, if you have a fast metabolism, good for you, you're blessed, that's right. You're really lucky, right? And so here's what metabolism means. And a lot of people think also that metabolism is just your body burning calories. The word itself, meta, the beginning of the word means transformation. Bol, B-O-L, means beginning of life. Ism is a system. So really what it means, it's the body's system for the transformation of new life. So whether it's food, water, air, even thoughts coming into our body, how is our body transforming that? And it's transforming it then into new life. So new life being cells that need repair, cells that need replacing, right? And even the same thing with our thoughts. So what's happening through that system? So really metabolism is a system for the transformation of new life. And what we help people do is make that system a lot more efficient. We help to heal that system. So really the first thing that somebody should do if they want to have a better metabolism is know the score. We always say winners know the score. What I mean by that is, what is your metabolism score? So we created this metabolism score where people, through just a list of questions, can be able to see where they're ranked as far as their metabolism goes. Is it good or is it bad? A lot of people have no idea. Because once we know that it's bad, we now know, okay, here's what we can do to be able to help you. And then the next step would be to assess. One of the things we say is we want to make sure that we assess and stop guessing as to what it is that you need to do for your metabolism, because everybody is unique. And because every human being is unique, every human being has different needs. So rather than throwing spaghetti on the wall like all these other weight loss programs will do, going, everybody is doing the exact same thing. Well, not everybody is exactly created the same. So we've got to assess to be able to see exactly what it is that that person's body needs. What nutrients does that person's body need in order to heal their metabolism and have a better score?
So I'm hearing that, which is great. You're setting a baseline. You're finding out, is there a problem or not with your metabolism? And in most cases, there probably is. It always can be better. And then you're going to assess, set that baseline, but you're also going to see which type are you, because each type correlates with certain foods. Can you expand a little bit on how many types there are, what those types are, and how you then direct them into a certain diet or nutrition program?
Yeah, no, great question. So, and you even spoke of this, how a lot of, when we went through the lockdowns with COVID and all of that, we made a pivot as a company to now expand our growth and go virtually. And now we're able to help people all over the world. And one of the pieces of that was we developed a metabolic disruptor assessment. And so what this is, it can be taken online and it gives us data points. We've really taken data points over the last really decade plus. And we found there's commonalities metabolically that people will fall into these categories of disruption, whether it could be a liver disruption, could be an adrenal disruption. Maybe it's hormonal like ovarian, could be thyroid, whatever category you fall into. Now we have the proper real food sequencing, the proper customized supplementation to work with that person's own unique body to get an incredible result. And the things we're looking for was we're trying to create fat adaptation. If you struggle with your metabolism, if you're overweight, if you have high body fat, you're a sugar burner and you're storing fat. No bueno. You want to be a fat burner. We also want to create insulin sensitivity. That means your body is no longer dependent, reliant on sugar. It can use multiple sources of fuel, whether it be fat, whether it's sugar, to fuel your body and not end up in this inflammatory cycle. It's very dangerous. And there's no way you can have a healthy metabolic weight set point, that thermostat, without being insulin sensitive. And that's really the metabolic flexibility that we're really all born with. And then something changed that. So once we can assess, once we can find out where the disruption is, now it's really fun. It really makes us look smart, because now we know exactly how to help somebody get predictable, guaranteed results. And we are so confident at this point. We have so much evidence. It's exciting to know what can be done now metabolically in a holistic, safe, natural way. That is really the name of the game, is doing things working with your body. We don't want to treat weight loss like any other symptom. You don't want to lose weight to get healthy. You want to get healthy to lose the weight. If you're overweight, you're not healthy. And conventional medicine, unfortunately, really doesn't have a lot of answers for this, because think about all the diet and exercise programs, all the medications, all the doctors, all the surgeries, all the things that are out there. Yet right now, over 70% of us are overweight or obese. Over 88% of Americans are metabolically unhealthy. So the cure is not in a pill, potion, lotion, or shot. The cure, the cause, is the cure, and it's all about metabolism.
Now, what a great explanation. I love it, Randy. Because again, I'm smiling because I hear the things that I want to hear anyways, right? So first of all, it's not a one size fits all approach, which any other diet is. Nutrisystem, everybody gets the same meals, whether you're 60 pounds or 600 pounds, or whether you have diseases or not diseases. They don't know anything about you yet. You all are on the same program. The other thing, this is the fact that it addresses the inflammation, healing first, right? And for the people that know me, one of my books is about weight loss. I don't have a weight loss program. I don't want a weight loss program because they have the best. So why reinvent the wheel? But what I do always talk about is exactly that. It's not focusing on trying to lose the weight. It's focusing on reducing that inflammation and being healthy, because then the side effect is going to be, oh my God, I lost all this weight. And then it's going to stay off.
Yes.
Because you didn't pull a Band-Aid on, you actually address the cause. And that's what these guys with their program are doing. Because when I talk about health, I talk about toxemia, the cause of all disease. And obesity certainly is a disease in which it perpetuates the risk of any other disease, right? So toxemia is basically toxins in the body. And normally in a normal healthy body, those toxins are eliminated. Those waste products of our metabolism are eliminated. And so no harm is done. But toxemia really means is we are ingesting and exposed to far more toxins than the body possibly can eliminate. So now they accumulate in our body. And what are those toxins doing when they are not eliminated? They're causing trouble, right? They're causing free radical damage and systemic inflammation. And systemic inflammation is basically a fancy word for saying our body's trying to put out fires. It's in a state of emergency, trying to do something with those toxins, neutralize those. And one of the things to neutralize those is store them in fat cells. That's where toxins are stored. And so when we're putting out fires, our metabolism goes down, our immunity goes down. And when metabolism is impaired or doesn't function optimally, as these guys are experts in, we're going to store that fat because we don't have time to attend to it. So now those fat cells getting stored with fat and toxins, right? And it's a vicious cycle because fat cells secrete or release cytokines, and cytokines are pro-inflammatory. They cause even more inflammation. So now we have this vicious cycle of more and more weight gain, more and more disease, more and more risk for disease, brain fog and everything else that comes with it. So just focusing on shedding those pounds by taking in less calories. But let's be honest, every weight loss program out there is a low-calorie diet. They package it differently, and they're telling you, oh, don't eat this and do this, and they all have a different story. But bottom line, they try to starve you because that's how you lose weight. But then when you stop those diets, you regain the weight. It's what they call the yo-yo diets. And so for those who are overweight, I'm sure you tried many of those and you're going like this right now. Yes, I tried it. It helped short term, but I couldn't keep up with it because I'm starving. So brings me to the next questions. Number one, how does affecting your metabolism is related to decreasing your systemic inflammation? Because we can measure that. CRP is a blood test. We can measure your systemic inflammation and then see if it lowers, which reduces your risk for disease. Systemic inflammation. And then number two, is this a diet where people are going to feel like they're starving or they feel like their nutrition intake is restricted? Because many people are unable to keep up with those type of diets where they feel they're starving.
Yeah, good question. So like you have the IZOD method, we have the thin method.
Yes.
It's a beautiful pairing. So our thin method really is designed to help create an ideal fat burning state. And so one of the best things you can do to turn your health around is to rid your body of stored body fat. Like you said, the more fat you have, the more toxins you store. It really becomes its own separate endocrine system. And it is not working for you. No. It is working against you. So when we can get you into what's called an endogenous fat burning state, it's where your body begins to get really smart at finding and burning your body's own fat stores. Dr. Mike, most people have hundreds of thousands of calories of just stored body fat around.
Let's use it, right?
The hips, the thighs, the belly, the viscera, it's everywhere. And you're storing it because you're burning sugar and you're storing fat. So the beauty of the thin method is we're able to create this incredible, intense, fat-burning endogenous state where you're burning thousands and thousands of calories. You've got tons of energy. And as we know, when you start to burn fat, inflammation drops very, very quickly. And so if you're hungry, you're going to fail. But when you burn fat and you eat real food, you create satiety.
Yes.
Right? You secrete the hormones to tell your brain that you are full. So you're not always snacking and craving more food. So this method we've developed really helps create this ideal environment. And it's only 5 weeks. In 5 weeks, we're seeing about 25 pounds of weight loss if you need to lose it in females, and about 35 pounds in males if they need to lose that in just 5 weeks. So pretty insane the results that we're getting. And then there's also a 3-week reset phase to help what Dr. Rob talked about, create that new thermostat. Dr. Rob, talk about that too, because I know for you, that's how you've kept off the 65 pounds now for 12 years. It wasn't just about going on a diet. It was about really healing your metabolism and creating a brand new thermostat for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the reality is that what we know that works for people is that they need something. Number one, they need access, right? They need access to somebody, like you said, Dr. Mike, somebody who's actually been there and then can be able to help guide them along. So we have access. But the second thing that they need is they need something that's going to be simple. Okay. They need something that's going to be step by step. So one of the things that you talk about is knowing what your purpose is, but then also having a plan and a strategy. So we've got simple steps that people can follow. All they have to do is follow these steps. And the next thing that they need is they need to get fast results. So they start getting results very quickly, and the program is fast. It's only 5 weeks during this retrain phase as they're losing this weight. And so to answer your question, Dr. Randy, as far as that metabolic thermostat, so what we're really doing is we're resetting that metabolic thermostat over 5 weeks. So let's say, 10 is a rock star metabolism, 0 is the worst metabolism ever, 5 is middle of the road. Like Randy was saying, is if your body is not fat adapted, you're going to be under a 5. Let's call it a 2 or a 3. And if you're trying to lose weight on a 2 or 3 metabolism by just cutting calories, well, that metabolism ain't going to fix itself. No different than anything else is going to fix itself. If you're not taking the trash out, it's going to stink if you don't take it out. So it just continues to keep on getting worse, which is why people experience that phenomenon where they feel like as they're getting older, it's harder to lose the weight, or they feel like they're trying to push that boulder up a hill. It's because they're doing it on this 2 to 3 metabolism that's actually not a 2 or a 3 anymore. It's like now a 1 to a 2, it's getting worse.
Yes.
And meanwhile, this metabolic thermostat is coming down and down and down, but their weight set points is going up and up and up. So in other words, with every year that goes by now, like for myself, when I said earlier, let's say it was 180, 180 pounds, the next year it's 181, the next year it's 182, or heck, it's like 190 now. And now you're like, it's just my age. Everybody, as they get older, gains weight. Well, if that was true, then everybody that
it disguises itself as age, but you can't blame it on the age, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. What a bad excuse, by the way. And we've all done it.
It's not the age. So as we're getting you fat adapted, if you've got a person who's got to lose 50 pounds, that means that person is 50 pounds of body fat. That person is storing about 175,000 calories or units of energy inside their body that they're not using. So we're getting you using now those calories as your body is becoming fat adapted, which is why people are not hungry as they're doing this, because you've got plenty of calories to burn or plenty of calories for your body to be able to eat.
So they don't feel hungry, they're not starving. I think everybody wants to hear that. It's not a starvation, low calorie program.
No, not at all.
You're upgrading your thermostat basically. And by doing that, you're going to burn your own calories in there, which means that your body doesn't need to send a signal to your brain, say, hey, eat because I'm hungry,
right?
Because the calories are right there. And that's what we want, is use those calories and burn those calories off. I mean, how amazing in only just 5 weeks. Now, you mentioned age as an excuse. People use age as an excuse. They also use genetics as an excuse all the time when I talk to people. And it's like, come on, guys. Even if false research shows that something you're genetically predisposed to, it's up to 30% that genetics can play a role. Let's say it's true that genetics plays 30% role in losing weight. That still means you're 70% in control. Well, so if you're 200 pounds and you're 70% in control, you can lose 140, which I don't suggest you do. But what I mean is you're still 100% in control, even though you believe genetics plays a role. So those are all excuses, not having to do something or not having to engage into a program that works. But we know there's epigenetics, and it's look it up. It's a science out there that says if you make one lifestyle modification, you change your genetic expression. I'm not saying you can't be predisposed to being obesity. Yes, you can, but you also can change that by doing a program like this, resetting your thermostat and your metabolism. And guess what? Your children in the next 7 generations don't have that predisposition to obesity anymore because you were the hero to change that gene. So no more excuses.
Yeah, and you nailed it, right? Because listen, hey, genetics load the proverbial gun, but what pulls the trigger is the lifestyle. It's how you're adapting chemically, physically, and emotionally. So the genetics thing really, and listen, doctors are notorious for blaming our health problems on our age and on our genetics.
Yes.
And guess
because they don't have to do anything about it.
Well, because there's nothing you can do about your age. There's nothing you can do about your genetics. It's permanent. Now you're a victim. And if you're a victim, then you start telling yourself, why should I even try?
A victim?
Because there's really nothing that I can do.
A victim and a permanent customer.
I was just going to say, and you're a customer
100, right?
Yeah,
Victims make great customers, because now what are you going to do? Just take all their drugs? And we know if you give drugs to a healthy person, it makes them sick. How is giving drugs to a sick person going to make them healthy? None of your health problems are caused by a lack of drugs. Not that drugs can't be, life-saving and short-term intervention, but they are not the cause of the reason why you're struggling. We just know that to be true. Epigenetically, I love what he said. I remember reading a book years ago, Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. Like you said, Dr. Rob, your thoughts, you can turn genes on and off with just the mere thoughts and your beliefs and how that translates into your actions. So I know, Dr. Rob, you used to believe even that your weight problem was genetic. You carried that badge of honor, this genetic weight problem, for a lot of your life. Tell Dr. Mike's audience how you overcame that limiting belief and why genetics was the cause. How in the world did you get into this incredibly great shape? Because you still got the same mom and dad.
Well, I did it very simply by following the protocols that we learned. That was it. I just did them, right? I knew that. I saw that it worked with you. I don't ask questions. If I see somebody else do it, then I'm like, all right, it works. Let's do it and just do those things. And it was really funny because, like you said, I had always thought because my mom struggled with her weight that I was supposed to struggle with my weight. Meanwhile, and I never forget this, when I asked my mom, I'm walking through the house, and this is later on in life. I'm like, I asked her, I'm like, so tell me when you started struggling with your weight. And I said it because she has this photo of herself from her wedding day, which is interesting because my parents are divorced. Why in the world would she have a photo of herself from her wedding day from when she married my dad?
She looked great.
She looked hot, right? She was only 95 pounds. And so that was always like her motivation to be able to get back to that. She just didn't have the tools to do it other than what everybody else tells us, which is decrease your calories and move more. And so I said, so when did you start struggling? And she pointed at me and she goes, when I had you. So I was the reason, right? And I was blaming her, right? So it was like this codependency.
Blaming each other.
Totally.
Each other, but that's what we're, not good, because that's what we're all taught to do. So overcoming it was really simple. It was just putting number one is knowing that I had an issue. Number two is knowing what the issue was, getting to the root cause. And then number three is just following the steps to actually healing it and taking action and doing the things.
Yeah, it's sad, right? Because we're talking about the doctors. And again, most of the doctors, they don't do it willingly. They just don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Because they have been educated and educated. They have been told certain things by the curriculum set forth by the big pharma in med school, but their toolbox is so limited. It's drugs, injections, and surgeries. And so people always go to the doctor, and I mean, less and less, people start asking questions and thinking critically, or they say, I've listened to his or her advice for so many years, it's not working, I have to look for something else. So, but they have this limited toolbox, and most people don't understand that when those three things in their toolbox don't work, the doctor tells you there's nothing we can do. And then people translate that there's nothing that can be done. People need to understand that there's nothing that he or she can do with the three tools. There's another 1,000 tools out there. Right? Another 1,000 tools out there. Just the doctor doesn't know them or isn't experienced with them. So, and it's the same with weight loss programs. There's thousands out there. So for the consumer, it's very hard because there's a propaganda, there's a celebrity that comes on TV and we're trying it. But unfortunately, they're all the same low-calorie diets that have short-term effects, and they're only there for one purpose, making quick money. Unfortunately. So, I mean, I'm grateful that guys like you out there that really have a solution to weight loss. And so we need to get the word out there because people need to find you. And it's so hard to find that needle in a haystack, right? And so here we are. We need to get this out there because it will help me with my program tremendously to set that foundation to really get to that optimal health and unleash those superpowers.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think one of the things that you do great, Mike, is you ask really good questions. Because when you ask great questions, what do you always say, Dr. Rob? The quality of your questions is what?
It's the quality of your life. You ask shitty questions, you're going to have a shitty life. Yeah, great questions, you're going to have a great life.
That works.
That is so true. And so I think one of the main questions we want to really ask is stop asking, how do I lose weight? Start asking, how do I heal and focus on my metabolism?
Yes.
Right. You get to the foundation and the core and you work on that. Everything's going to get better. I'm not in construction, but I know if you build a house on a bad foundation, it's going to cost you a lot of time and a whole lot of money. You want your foundation to be solid. So building that metabolic foundation is the starting point. And it's really just knowing how to take that first step, which is really hopefully today is going to help a lot of people begin to do that.
Yeah, and again, it's the foundation, not just to lose that weight, but everything, all your health problems, your vitality, your life, your mental focus, your productivity. So it's the foundation for everything, is having that, immense body balanced and working properly. As a side effect, yes, you lose the weight, you're not going to regain it, but now you're set your foundation for whatever it is that you want in life.
Absolutely. Having clear thoughts, right? No more brain fog and muscle fatigue and poor energy, having a strong libido, feeling your best, just vibrant, ready to take on the world. Those are normal things. When you're not feeling your best, when you feel like you're fatigued and you're not sleeping well, you've got all these conditions, yes. Really, there's one commonality really in all of this is your body's not adapting. Get your body adapting again. And that's really what a healthy metabolism will do for you. Listen, if I can overcome late stage cancer, no joke, I'm not joking. They gave me 2 months to live. It was over for me. And just some simple measures that were taken to change my metabolic profile, not only can cancer go away, anything and everything you're going through, you can change when you decide to change it. They say there's no incurable diseases. There's really only incurable people. Don't be that person that can't be cured because you won't let yourself be cured.
As long as you're alive, your body will strive for perfect health. It's one of the laws of human life, the law of self-preservation. As long as you are breathing, your body is trying, but you are not letting it. You are not putting in the correct conditions. And it's not necessarily your fault. You don't know where to turn to or what to do, but there's many functional medicine doctors out there. There's many people out there that could guide you in the right directions. And Rob and Randy are for sure the right people if excess weight is one of your concerns. Now, let's finish up. 5-week program is what I heard. Now, what if I want to lose 60, 70 pounds? What happens after 5 weeks? I lose 35 pounds. Do I just repeat the cycle? What can people expect after the 5 weeks?
Yeah.
Go
ahead, Dr. Rob. Yeah, go ahead.
You can say, so after the 5 weeks, we have there's a 3-week reset after that. The purpose of the reset is to reset that metabolic thermostat, set it in place. And so we've got a very specific things that you follow over those 3 weeks. And then after the 3 weeks, then your metabolism is at a new level. Now, for some people, they may need to keep going and reset that thermostat so that, they can be able to lose more weight. At that time, they can go through another round of the program and do it again. But we have to have that reset period
in between.
In between.
Now that makes sense, right? Because you go from a 2 to a 5.
Yep.
And then you gotta, if you want to lose more, you gotta go from 5 to a 7.
Exactly.
Yeah, we don't work with 2s because we already know what's going to happen. Any weight you lose is coming right back. So do one great round first, right? Do the 5-week retrain, knock that 20, 30 pounds off, go through the reset. And that's why I even asked you, Dr. Rob, because I know that you went through a couple of rounds of our system to really get where you are today. And it took a couple of rounds to really move that thermostat down another 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds, which you can do very, very quickly. For a lot of you, this is not a year project. It really is 2, 3, 4, 5 months. You can be right where you want to be. We always talk about getting in the happy, healthy jet. You can get it on your bike and you can go all the way to California if you want to, or you can get in the happy, healthy jet right here in Dallas, Texas. And we can get you there very quickly. It's a lot less painful. It's a lot less costly, and it's a lot more fun, especially when you're doing it in a natural, healthy way, which is what we all stand for, is that natural health, medical freedom, informed consent, really doing everything you can to support your body, because we know and believe, and it is true, it's a fact, your body's always working for you. It's not working against you.
Great, 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 guys. One last piece of advice or a piece of information you want to give the listeners about your weight loss program that we may have not covered, Randy?
I think number one is just taking that first step, and we've made it very, very easy. We have a virtual platform now that people can go to, and they can learn more about our program, and they can get access to it, and we can onboard them now really very, very quickly. So it's not going into a clinic. It's not running a bunch of tests that really, all these tests, what do they really mean at the end of the day? Who's ever spent a ton of money on all these tests, and at the end of it, when all the dust settles, you're like, but what the heck, what do I do? So I think what Dr. Rob said, we really are masters at taking a lot of complication and really simplifying and make it easy to follow. I think really the first step is just really going and being ready to make that change. And then Dr. Rob, I know for you, you've been a big part of helping us make this available to people all over the country with all the work that you've done to make sure that, hey, now here's exactly where you go and what you do, and then let our team go to work for you, because it can happen quick, fast, and in a hurry.
So Dr. Rob, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, just take action. Take that first step. It's simple. If you just go to h2thinvirtual.com, take that first step. There's a video of us that's talking about the program, walking you through the different steps of the program, and just take that first step. Go there, check it out, learn about what it is that we do. And then if you feel like, hey, you know what, I've got to do something about this right now, then join our program.
So h2thinvirtual.com, we'll put the website, below the video in the comment section. So people can get there. And so they can watch the video, they can kind of read a little bit about it, but they can register right there and then and get started. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. Well, that right there is the first step.
That's simple enough. So again, stop doing those fad diets that are out there. Already they don't work. So why jump on the bandwagon again? Just take care for it once and for all. Lay that foundation, put that thermostat at the right level over there, and lose it forever, because you're going to look good, you're going to feel good, and you set the foundation for whatever you want in life. Guys, thank you so much for this information, and hopefully we can help thousands and thousands more with their thermostat so they can live again.
Amen. I love it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Mike.
Thanks for having me at your facility. But
so great. I love it. Awesome. Let's do it again soon, everybody.
Sounds great.
Let's do this again soon.
Thanks for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast. If you enjoy the show, make sure to follow them on Instagram at the H2 Life, or on YouTube and Facebook at the Happy Healthy Guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts.